I think what we'll do, we'll talk about the specifics of this production that you guys are doing in Vegas, and then we'll try to go into a few deep dives too into some specific parts of the script and the staging and the show, so that we could all talk a little bit intelligently about the show that we love. So let's zoom through. It's like in Act One. You don't really have a chance to breathe until
This is an interesting. I don't know if you guys know this. Richard brought this up one time when he noted the show when we were on tour. The significance that the first applause break in the show is after Cry for Me. So you go through all of spring and the audience doesn't have an opportunity to stop the show and applaud. And it's when the Four Seasons come together and you hear the sound of the Four Seasons for the first time together. That's the first opportunity that the audience has to clap.
Yeah. You're right. That was the moment that I was talking about, because we talked about that with Richard too.
And that's your moment, Kit.
Yeah, exactly. I was about to say that's why Kit's pointing it out.
Yeah, exactly.
Why does it know that affected me?
Like, this is so jumping around. This is the first time you've really gotten to play Bob full time, like really sitting down with Bob. Like, what have you discovered? And have you discovered any new moments or any lines that you have now that you can say, like, you feel like you're finally understanding them a little bit differently now that you've been able to sit with him for an extended amount of time?
So many things. I went on for Bob a lot as an understudy, but it would be, a few shows here, and then months later I'd get a few shows, and so it always felt like I was playing catch up or like just trying to sort of like survive it. And this is my first opportunity really to dig into the part, and we had a really great rehearsal process, and we really dug into a lot of the scene work. For me, the thing that was surprising to me about it this go around, of course, I was a swing, so I understudied like everyone, crew, like truly all the men in the ensemble, even Chip. Oh yeah, even Chip. But his relationship with Frankie is very, very special. I don't think when I went on, I really was that keyed into that, and also his relationship with crew. When I would go on for crew, I don't think I appreciated quite their connection, the connection about music, about production, and about the business. And it's been really fun to play with those relationships with our amazing Frankies. And it's really fun to get two different actors with two different perspectives. Like on Saturday, I got to do the show with both of them. It was so fun. It's a really great gift that we have these two amazing guys doing the part.
Jared and Joey. So if we can dive into the Frankie-ness of the show. So there's a split, right? So is it 6-2? Is it 4-4?
We're doing 7 shows a week, so it's 4-3.
It's 4-3.
Oh, it's 7 shows a week. Right. Okay. So it's 4-3. Okay. Because it's rough out there in Vegas.
It is dry indeed.
It's dry. It's a desert. Yeah.
So we had it switch on the rundown, because when Travis Clower was on our show, he told us that they started with the 6-2 split, but then they transitioned to the 4-4 split when the show was originally in Vegas because of that great climate.
Yeah.
It's great. Yeah. Truly ideal. Yeah.
Well, if we could talk about both of your perspectives with Frankie, how do you see him differently, or have you noticed like different things that you kind of show each other and maybe you emulate each other every week?
I actually think our Frankies are quite different. But I was going to note the fact that like I think Jared and I are quite similar as people, but we're both nerds and idiots, and so
yeah, I can confirm.
I don't know. It's interesting. I think, I mean, I don't know. I think our takes on Frankie are very different. Like I'm an angrier, yellier Frankie, and he's like a really determined kind of. Well, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I feel like he's like really like he has a lot of integrity and honor, and I just yell a lot. So I think that's a big difference.
Well, it's so interesting. So vocally, though, are there any similarities in the way y'all sing the role as well?
I think we both approach the singing from very different perspectives. Obviously, everybody comes from different singing backgrounds, and everybody has different vocal ranges. I mean, to play Frankie, you've got to have a very specific range. But there's also kind of, there's, brackets either side of that, and no two voices are ever going to sound alike.
Right.
And for me at least, I've always said, the true key to unlocking Frankie is it's all about the push and the pull. It's all about knowing when to give it and when to take it back, when to give it, when to take it back. And that's kind of served me well, especially on days when maybe, you're in Las Vegas and yeah, you're a little drier than usual, or you're having to work a little harder than usual. And you can really tune into that push and pull, and keeping the money notes where they need to be, so that you can elicit that reaction from the audience, or so that the audience can get the songs that they know and love the way that they want them to be. Yeah. So I think that it's definitely a marathon for sure.
Jared works like a surgeon. Like seriously, like pinpoint precision. Like he's gonna sing at the same time, the same way every time. It's actually kind of freakish, and I hate him for it. But whatever.
Consistency.
Yeah,
it's amazing. And Jared? How do you feel your performance in any regard has evolved since the first time you did it on the cruise?
Oh wow! So when I first did it on the cruise back in 2020, I was Joe Pesci to start with. Mm-hmm. So I started as a Joe Pesci, and that was 2020. So unfortunately, the contract was cut a little shorter than usual. But I think at this point in my life now, I've really grown into the more adult version of Frankie. The Frankie that you see kind of from winter onwards, or maybe a little earlier than that, from fall onwards. And one of the things that me and our wonderful director Danny had lots of conversations about is that Frankie is constantly just trying to figure it out. That's what keeps him up at night, and also that's what keeps him going, is trying to figure it out. You talk to Nick, I can't even. Do you think it was the drinking? Maybe that's why his mind got all screwed. Maybe that's why he left. Let it go.
I love
what if they don't
that.
like me as a
we
singer?
haven't heard that one yet. That's
Yes,
amazing.
Very introspective the whole time. I love that.
Yeah. It's the first thing his first line in Winter, and his first chance to address his jury, which is, as we call the audience, our jury, is you listen to Tommy, he'll tell you we were real pals. And then he goes on to say, the one that really gets me is Nick. I could never figure it. We had something going and then he just walks away. He's constantly trying to figure out when it all went wrong and why,
We're always talking about that 20-minute section between Stay and Come On, Marianne.
Oh yeah.
Full of gems.
Yes, and how winter.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and plus how winter is the shortest season of the show. And it's because he's trying to figure it out. I think now that you say that.
And it's like that section during during Bye Bye Baby, like right at the top of Bye Bye Baby, where the tempo gets a little faster because they're trying to rock Frankie off the boat, and just keep his feet planted firm and just keep singing. And when they change after he breaks up with Lorraine, when they break up, they immediately change the key right after she leaves because he's just so fucking tired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just
deep.
Oh yeah.
See, there's
another mystery.
No one thinks about this.
Yeah.
That's
another mystery for him to figure out. Where did that go wrong? Why did that go wrong? Another thing to play on his mind.
I love it.
That's one thing that we talked about in rehearsal that Rick and Marshall built into the script, is that Frankie, especially in the second act, is really focused on the past, and the members of the band that left during fall, and Bob's lines are very focused on the future. Right. So that becomes their central conflict in the second act. Bob says things like, okay, it'd be nice to go on just like this forever, but I'm looking ahead. He's always looking forward, and Frankie's always looking back. And that's sort of in the coffee shop scene. He's trying to like snap Frankie out of it, or he says, in the recording studio, he says to Frankie, why, or Nikki left or something, and then Bob says, so let it go. He's trying to move past, he's trying to move forward, and Frankie's very reflective, looking back on the past.
Tyler, you and Joey are new to the neighborhood, to the old neighborhood.
We are.
It's amazing. So it's amazing that it just the way the show just comes into everyone's lives when they need it, you know. So how has it been, you know, moving to the old neighborhood for you two?
It's been an amazing process for me so far. I just have to tip my hat to these guys here because every time I'm sharing the stage with them, they make it so easy. You know, like you really go. It's a marathon. You never stop. You hardly have time to breathe before you're singing or before you've been talking. So you just make it work. But when I look at these guys in the eyes and we really lock it in, I know that they got my back. I got theirs. We're going to just tell this story. We're going to let it fly. It's been a challenge, but I freaking love the challenge.
Oh yeah.
Well, I can already tell the dynamic here is so interesting and different in a really refreshing way. I love it. And because Tyler, of course, with Tommy, you know, it's like you're the toughest one.
I don't know about that.
Don't be fooled.
Well, you know what? It's so
He's-
interesting. Like, it's like when Tommy gets backed up against the wall. So like, how Tyler, how are you directed? How were you directed to play the line? How many more hits you think you're gonna write?
Oh, I'm in my full reptilian, angry
I like that
monster
you
Godzilla
said reptilian.
moment.
Because
Yes.
I always say it's like Venom. Because
Yeah.
he's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
you want to fuck with me?
Oh
I'm
yeah.
gonna fuck with you right back. You want to bring down the ship? Wanna
The
bring down
whole
my ship?
the
I'm
whole
gonna
sit
bring
down
down
I'm
my
trying
ship.
to I'm trying to lock Kit in the eye and be like, you better not fuck with me, man, because I'm gonna about slap you across the face. I walk over there and I really want to rip him to shreds, and then he finally just lays it on me saying, with what, baby, with what?
Yeah.
And that just kills me. It just got to go the other way.
And Jonathan, of course. So with the way I love your Nick.
Oh my
it's
God.
so like you're just
Suave.
exactly, and you're there. Like I can see the light in your eyes every time you're on stage, and because you are reflective, but you're just like I don't know, you're chill, man.
Really chill.
Like is that how do you approach Nick? And do you approach it differently now that you're with a different group of guys?
Well, by the way, the check's in the mail. Thanks for the compliments.
Ah,
No, I love it.
No,
Even the way you hold your whiskey, you're just like you're looking at it, you know. You're
Yeah.
like, oh yeah.
Also, the light is really reflective in the spit that comes out of his mouth during the sit down scene.
oh yeah.
It really
Like
hits
Ray,
You
that.
could
baby.
taste it. You could really
Oh,
taste
yeah.
it.
It's been a lot of fun to get to do this again out here. And Danny encouraged me to go in a different direction with Nick a bit. And my second act has changed a lot.
Really?
I'm finding a lot more joy. I would say that the first couple times that I did Nick, I was more interested and focused on being left out of the group, being the one in the group that feels left out and not listened to, and my talents are being ignored, because that's the journey that I relate to the most from my life, because I felt like that a lot in my life. And so that, I think, manifested in a much darker experience for the audience. And indeed, like you guys will remember, maybe when I used to leave the group, I would go super dark with it and be like,
Yes.
gonna fuck these guys. Good luck with your life. Like I would get kind of dark about it, and focusing more on, like, I'm enjoying the first act more than I ever have, because it just feels like when you look at pictures of Nick, when you hear stories about Nick, he was always having a good time doing the music. And Danny gave me a note about just do the music and find the joy in the music. And that has transformed my whole first act, and even parts of the second act, where I'm trying to just have fun and even while no one else is listening to me, find the moments when I'm having a great time, like begging, I'm just fucking jamming away, and let everything kind of slowly get to me as we get into the sit down and go back to those things that I relate to very easily, where I can kind of blow up about it. But then even when I leave the group, it becomes more about, this is so ridiculous. I just have this sudden realization about, I can get what I want out of my life. I can just go do it. And like, I just kind of snap, and I'm like, I don't know, kind of losing it a little bit in a more fun way. So it's a very different experience for me. I'm having a blast doing it with these four guys. They're all so good in their roles. We all get along so well, both off stage and on stage. Yeah, we're having a great time.
Well, thank goodness for that. And I love your new discovery. I feel it adds more to your rise and fall, you know, because it's like, because when the sit down scene happens, it's like you didn't realize it. I would feel like, you know, it's like yeah, all this was pent up, and now that explains the explosion a little bit more.
Yeah.
And then that pause when everything stops and Nick's like, I don't want to do this anymore. You know, like it's
Right,
just
it
such
just
a
hits,
fast
yeah.
moment. And so like I feel like with this new direction you're taking, that moment could land much heavier. So love that.
But don't hit your head too hard.
There's a great picture. I think it was Michael Lamenda hit his head. He like actually hit his head like too hard on the table.
Oh no.
And he had like
His-
bloody a little
Oh
bit.
no.
I think I've heard this story. Yeah.
Yeah.
Knocking on wood. Yeah, we should have heard that.
I hit myself with a guitar one time on tour. I went to take my guitar off and I was bleeding down my face for
Oh,
like
no.
15 minutes
no.
of the first act. Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay, no injuries. Knock on wood, please.
Well, there's another funny not that story was like not like we're glad you're okay and it wasn't funny, but there's a one of the final performances on Broadway, one of the Frankie alternates or understudies, he lost his tie during begging and he was just performing without a tie for the rest of the first act, for the rest of the second act.
Love it.
That
happens. All those ties, because they're all quick rig ties, they're all quick change ties, they're all velcroed onto your collar right here. So it happened to me.
Last night
happened
was
to me
Jared
during a
doing
dress
Magic
rehearsal.
Mike. His shirt was undone, his belt was undone. He was stripping for us in the sit down.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I tried to fix it whenever I could. And
listen, we weren't angry about it. We weren't
at
angry.
one point.
Well, and he thought he was doing Magic Mike on this interview too, it looks like.
Hey, back away, Peter.
When did this become?
So let's just go through a couple quick things about the specific Vegas production, because I know we have a very limited amount of time left. But so did y'all know this was going to be a replica production when you were auditioning, when y'all were getting ready?
Yes.
That's
It
awesome.
was we knew it would be the Dodgers production. Now it's different than any version I've done before. We have moving drums. The drums are moving around on the stage.
Whoa!
2 drum sets or only one?
One drum set.
One drum set.
Okay.
One drum set. There are LEDs behind the drum set, as opposed to like off Broadway, they were just up above. So
Right.
that's new to me. The stage is huge. The stage is super deep.
So long.
Yeah.
Is it
It's
like
really
deep,
wide.
too?
It's wide.
Well,
Yeah.
it's actually the
You
same
got to jog
stage.
out of those wings.
Yeah. It's the same
It's kinda-
stage from
yeah.
New World. It's the same bridge and general like pieces from New World, but they've just built a new deck and it's
And you guys have a full orchestra.
Yeah, the original
10-piece.
Broadway orchestration.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
It
Yeah.
sounds. Let me tell you,
It
they
sounds so
sound
good.
phenomenal.
They do.
Oh,
Just so good.
I'm sure.
And a lot of them have done it before as well. So they're true JB vets, you know. So they understand the style of the show and you know how it's supposed to sound. And let me tell you, like when you're doing Can't Take My Eyes Off You and you can feel the backing of that band behind you, you just feel it's invincible. You feel invincible.
Yeah.
And some of my favorite parts of the orchestration are the clarinets in Act 1, especially during Sherry.
Well, just any of the tender moments. It's just nice to have real woodwinds, playing
Yeah.
along.
Yeah.
Well, what about the fall jackets? We
Oh
thought
my
you'd have
God,
the jackets
fall
back.
costumes.
They're the
That's
best costumes
new
in the
for
show. I love
Yeah.
those costumes, especially Nick's look and Tommy's
Yeah.
look is really, really beautiful.
Mhm.
Yeah, they're the most slept on, I think, looks in the show.
I don't know, your tweed jacket in Act 2.
It's very cute. Oh, and the costumer
fox
gave
tie.
me the costumer because
foxy tie.
a kit is like a child fox, and so she gave me a little critter tie with like little mini foxes on it as like an Easter egg.
That's amazing.
I love that. I didn't
Love
even know that.
It's
I
cute.
didn't even we didn't even know that.
No. Any other
Yeah.
Easter eggs we don't know
Is the
with the costume?
Cable's got
John.
one.
Yeah,
John.
the Star Wars tie.
I have a
Millennium
Millennium Falcon tie.
Wait, what?
and-
Can you see it? Like, can you see these things from the audience?
No, you can.
No,
You can.
no.
It's a
Oh,
really
I'm
fine
gonna be
detail.
looking for it now, though.
Getting a sneak peek.
Oh my gosh.
Oh
I
my
didn't even know this. I didn't
God.
even notice that.
It's pretty
Wow.
sick.
Is that
Well,
your end
Don't
of
tell
show
Disney.
time, Jonathan?
What? This is my finale. My finale.
Yeah,
Okay.
right. Nice.
Okay, well, okay. Speaking of the
Right.
finale ties, I can't tell you when New World reopened after COVID, I went nuts analyzing everyone's ties because I think someone had circles and someone had diamonds and someone had square, and I was just like, well, the circle means everything in full circle for Frankie, so that makes sense. It was square because Bob is never gonna see it this way, so he's just a square, and like
This is what we do, guys. All day. All
I
day.
don't want to throw Julie, our associate costumer, under the bus, but it's definitely not that thought out. I'll tell you that. Okay.
I think it
Big
is.
fence at the top of the show.
What?
Y'all have the big fence at the top of the show.
It's
No.
it's a half black open.
Oh, the
Okay.
half.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
Gotcha. Okay,
Okay.
cool.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah,
Well,
'cause
There's
it's
actually not really fly space in this theater.
okay.
But it's the widest theater I think Jersey Boys has ever been done in.
For sure.
But yeah, there's not really fly space. So we don't have the Cadillacs that come in, or any of the drops or flies from the show.
So y'all have the
They're-
LED screen.
Yeah, it's a full LED,
Mm-hmm.
which I've never done before. So it's both above the bridge and behind.
Do you like it?
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's beautiful. Yeah, it looks great.
So excited.
The show looks great.
Yeah.
The show sounds great. The sound team has really done a great job making the sounds
Mhm.
wonderful.
And we've got a real drum set. At New World, we were playing around with that
It was
Fisher Price
on
like
the right
electronic thing.
Yeah.
Not Fisher Price.
That's so fun. Well, could we ask with a rapid fire question? Can you all describe your character in 3 words? Rapid fire. How would you describe
Ooh.
your character?
Oh,
Order of the seasons, right? So go
Yes,
Tommy.
please.
Tommy,
Yeah.
Bob. and then-
Brute force and passion. Those 3 words, really, just driving brute force with a bunch of passion. He gets lost along the way, but it's all with a good heart in my version.
Love it.
I love it.
Bob is driven, and he's very curious, and he's very thoughtful.
Nice.
I'm gonna say Ringo, addict, lover.
Yeah. You were the character, Cable. You were the character.
I like that.
Aw. Well, we would never leave you hanging, Jonathan. We would always listen to what you have to say.
Thanks.
Yeah, of course. Yes.
And
And-
Joey, Jared.
Yes.
3.
I'd say loyal, grounded, and perpetual.
Oh.
Okay. I would say determined, contemplative, and romantic.
This is very Gryffindor Ravenclaw here. I love
Mm.
Very
Slytherin.
differences.
That's true. Yeah. How would you sort your character? That's kind of fun.
100%
Oh, that's a great
Slytherin.
question.
Really quickly.
Yeah, we
Really
love
quickly.
this.
Yeah.
Do we want to do it really quickly?
Yeah. I
Okay.
think
I
Bob's
really
a
want to do it
Ravenclaw.
now that you've said that, Kit. Ah, okay.
Bob's
Really, Bob's a
Ravenclaw for sure.
Bob's a Hufflepuff to me.
He kicks you out of the group.
He's a Ravenclaw. Tommy.
Bob's too egotistical to not be. I don't know what's egotistical. Either a Gryffindor or a Ravenclaw, right?
Ravenclaw. Well, because
He's not a Hufflepuff.
Des says he's the teacher. He likes to teach. A lot of his direct addresses are teaching the audience. He's very like
Okay.
he's a student. He's a student. He wants to learn as much about music and the business as he can. He's excited to
That's
share
very
it.
Ravenclaw.
Very Ravenclaw.
That's very Ravenclaw. That's very
There's no doubt Tommy's a Slytherin for sure. Cunning, sleuth, all of it.
Snake. Yeah.
Nick's
but
definitely a
also
Hufflepuff,
resourceful
like me.
and
Mhm.
interesting.
Well, feel free to mix. Like we could have a Griffin claw.
That's true.
Slither door.
Yeah. Or they could start as a Gryffindor and turn into a Ravenclaw.
A rising Slytherin.
Well, okay. So, okay. So, Jonathan, you say Nick is a Hufflepuff.
Nick, like me, is a Virgo and a Hufflepuff. Yeah, we're the same.
Nice.
Yeah.
Of
I
course.
feel like Frankie's
Taurus.
a Gryffindor all the way.
He might be a
I
little
think s-
Hufflepuffy, but
I was about to say the same thing, Joey. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
A Griffin puff?
he's got a Griffin puff.
Griffin
Yeah.
puff. Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Yay.
Well,
He's got the
so fun.
charisma and the courage of a Gryffindor, but he's also got a level head. You know, he's which is kind of it's shown in the scene, for example, when he says, you know, you want to cut him an equal. If it works, there'll be enough for everybody. If it doesn't, what's the difference? You know?
yeah,
Very
for
practical.
sure.
Yeah. Well,
Well,
thank you all so
Yes,
much.
seriously, everyone go see Jersey Boys in Las Vegas at the Orleans Showroom. It's going to be out of this world. These guys are awesome. The gals are awesome. Everyone there is awesome. You're going to hear the full orchestra. You're going to see everything that you've missed about the show. Get to Vegas now.
We're going. We can't
We'll
wait.
be there.
All right.
When are you
know,
coming?
Yeah, when you guys
hopefully,
coming?
hopefully this summer, sometime
Yeah.
soon. We'll keep you guys updated with when we're coming. We'll let you know.
When it comes
Great.
Great.
Look forward to
Great.
seeing you.
And your official opening day is the February 22nd, right?
Yeah,
Right.
10 days.
Okay.